The rockets have fallen and the crossings have closed. And despite violations for more than 2 weeks, a fragile truce still holds. On Sunday, Israel once again allowed goods and fuel to enter Gaza after a 2-day closure. But both sides are increasingly warning the agreement is in jeopardy, and some wonder what effect it has had so far.
We can't say anything has improved on the Palestinian side. The border crossing has been partially closed for the past 2.5 weeks. There are shortages of necessities and goods and even fuel and cooking gas.
For Palestinians, the calm of daily Israeli missile attacks was supposed to be replaced with an increase in goods, medicines, raw material, and food, none of which have materialized substantially. By now, negotiations to regularly open Gaza's border with Egypt and the deal to swap prisoners were supposed to be in full swing. Neither has happened. Hamas officials have suspended those talks in response to what it calls Israeli violations. By the accounts of Palestinian factions, Israel has violated the truce agreement nearly 24 times in nearly 2.5 weeks. They say Israel has opened fire on Palestinians along the border and routinely shoots at fishing boats off the coast. For its part, Israel says Palestinian factions have fired rockets and mortars into southern Israel and is now considering increased operations in Gaza, something the military has not done in 2 weeks. Hamas officials warn that would be catastrophic.
If Israel carries out any military action in Gaza, it would be met with severe measure. We urge the Zionists to think 1,000 times carefully over before they take such a decision.
But some believe the alternative is still worse off for both sides should the truce fail, and that's what's keeping it together.
For Hamas, I believe that the Tahdi'ah would relieve the suffering of the Palestinians, and that would give Hamas a break to try to reorganize the situation in the Gaza Strip, in which it will consolidate its power and grip. Also for Israel, that is an interest for Israel, that Israel would not have to go into a military operation into the Gaza Strip, where it might lose a number of its soldiers and hundreds of Palestinian civilians could be killed.
With short-term expectations diminishing, the longevity of the truce will determine any positive changes. So in the meantime, people here are finding themselves once again hanging in the balance between promises and reality, with the promises of the truce not improving the reality of life for Palestinians. Ayman Mohyeldin, Al Jazeera, Gaza.